What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Payne. Welcome back to another Street Fighter Duel video. Alright guys, happy Saturday first off. It is the weekend, long weekend for me, and I have major daddy duties tomorrow, so I figured I'm going to just jump out here and put out some videos for you guys real quick. And what I want to talk about is going to be a controversial one because I brought on my tier list a couple days ago. There was a lot of back and forth debate about two units specifically, really just one unit, but I want to compare the two units because they are kind of where people draw the line between who to use and when to use them, right? So the two units I want to talk about are two best supports, two of the three best support units in the game, specifically Street Poison versus Elena, and where you want to use them and which is the better of the two units, and if you need both. So first off, let's talk about it, okay? Street Poison is a wind unit, and I'm going to do a full comparison between the two, okay? Who is going to give you the best absolute buffs in the entire game for damage. There is nobody that goes even close to her. And we're going to do a comparison between her to the best healer in the game, who is going to be Elena. But the problem with Elena is she's a one-trick pony and really doesn't bring a lot to the table unless there are specific modes you want to play. I'm going to talk about where their strengths are in both modes and how you want to use them. Plus, I want to talk about their assists and how they actually make a difference as assist units. All right, first off, so let's go with Elena because she's going to be the one that most free-to-play players and most new players think is the necessity, okay? So first off, Elena is the best healer in the game for sure. Bar none, there's nobody better than her. Let's talk about her garage real quick, her passives. Now, if you get it to Triple S, you can unlock vehicles, and her car passives are essentially, if you get three of them, unleashes Hurricane Tower, which is actually not true. That's not the name of this move, but we'll correct that shortly. When a friendly fighter dies, this is considered a trigger skill and may occur once per battle. Now, what this actually is, if you go to the skill level, if you look at the right here, it's called Hurricane Dance, not Hurricane Towers. They messed up on the translation. So it performs a charged dance that grants all teammates 20% damage reduction for 8 seconds. Nothing to scoff at, but the problem is with the 3 of 3 cards, it happens only once, and that's if somebody dies on your team. Keep that in mind. The 6 of 6 cards unleashes Hurricane Tower when the battle begins. This is considered a trigger skill, so it only also happens once. So at the beginning of the battle, you get 20% damage reduction for 8 seconds. When somebody dies, you get another 20% damage reduction for 8 seconds, okay? So very much a defensive buff. Now, let's go to Street Poisons and talk about hers. If there's only one enemy when the fighter uses the super combo, the following skills of the skill chain deal 35% increased damage. Okay, let me break that down to English terms. If there's only one enemy on the screen, for example, a boss or one enemy left out of the people you're fighting, whenever the fighter, her, uses the super combo, we'll look at her super combo shortly, it's actually built for only one unit, the following skills of the skill chain, which means the rest of the combo that goes along with it, deals an additional 35% increased damage. That is insane amount of damage increase. So right away, she becomes the clear winner in most things when it comes down to DPS. She is a DPS buffer. Elena is very, very much a PvE unit, and we'll talk about where to use both. Her 6 of 6 cards, if there's only one enemy when the fighter uses the super combo, it returns 200 super combo energy every 12 seconds. So not only are you doing 35% increased damage, but every 12 seconds, you're getting 200 super combo energy, again, making her an incredibly amazing boss killer. Okay, so that's the card difference. Now let's keep on Poison for a second, and let's talk about their passives. Okay, her passive is Captive Curse. When taking damage, 75% chance to receive Love Mark. Trigger every 12 seconds. When Love Mark is removed, additional recovery of 120% of attack. The trigger interval becomes 10 seconds. And then here, the last one, when Love Mark is removed, the HP recovered to teammates is also applied, okay? Love Mark, when getting attacked, reduce the damage taken by 50% of the fighter's attack, lasts 6 seconds, up to 1 stack, and cannot be dispelled. So it's an off heal, essentially, okay? So just keep that in mind. Let's go to her super. Crescent of Aeolus. Unleashes a Crescent of Aeolus that penetrates multiple target that hits all enemies once for damage of 277%. If there's only one enemy, it increases the damage to 30%. So that plays off of her passives in her card. She is, again, a boss killer, right? So increases damage to 318%. If there's only one enemy, increases damage to 70%. So hitting a little bit harder, okay? That's the goal for her. It's to be a one enemy killer and also help you do more damage. She's by far the best support in the game for that. Okay, this is really her biggest effect, okay? I want to talk about this real quick. Grants all teammates one-time Toxic Love, increasing their crit damage by 30% for 6 seconds, stacks up to 5 times. Now, as you get this up, it gives you additional buffs. Not only does it give you the 30% buff, It also gives you 15% pressure. If you don't know what pressure is, pressure actually gives you the ability to bypass some dodge and still apply damage. Okay, so there's a dodge and there's pressure. They're against one another. So whenever you have more pressure, if somebody dodges, you still end up doing a percentage of the damage. This one gives you an additional 15%. So great against units like Dante or Dudley's, right? Each stack of Poison Love also additionally increases your attack by 15%. Remember, guys, this stacks up to 5 times each. Okay, it's a lot of massive numbers going through. And then her C2 is a great counter or interrupt, if you want to call it. Unleashes an Obsessed Heart that deals damage equal to 508% of attack to the unit that it touches with a 40% base chance to charm. Triggers Charm Obsession, Trigger Ring of Obsession 3 times if the charm effect is blocked, dealing AoE damage equal to 40%. So if it's blocked, you do a little bit more damage. Increases the base chance of charm to be 60%, and triggers Ring of Obsession 5 times if the charm is affected. Charms, well, essentially what charm does is if it does affect a unit, they go onto your side and the enemy attacks that unit instead. So it's a great way to interrupt combos, kind of like not the same thing as an interrupt, but it does actually interrupt combos, kind of like the freeze does. And it's a great way for the units to damage their own opponents, okay? So if you're not looking for the buffs and you just need a CC, again, brings so much to the table. Okay, let's go back to Elena for a sec, okay? And let's compare the skills. Start off with her passive. Already kind of talked about it. Dance when the battle begins, increasing the HP of allied fighters with the highest attack by 20% of Elena's max HP. So, gives the highest attack unit 20% more HP, only one unit though, okay? Also increases the target's defense by 20% and then increases the target's HP by 30% and then 30% here. So a very, very good way for survivability. Increasing your HP by 30% of Elena's plus defense by 30% is actually pretty massive for your DPS to survive. So a great passive, right? All right, let's talk about her super skill. In series of dance-like moves, Elena strikes the target 4 times, doing 460% of attack of damage. All teammates receive up to 20% for attack for 10 seconds, okay? All teammates also increase speed, and then the duration of increased speed is to 15 seconds. So a very good special, but not one you're going to use, but there's a bonus here, and we'll talk about that shortly, and a crux at the same time, okay? We'll talk about that very shortly. Okay, C1, Healing Dance. This is really her main bread and butter, let's be real. Heals all teammates for 12% of Elena's max HP. Unfortunately, 12% is very low, goes to 15%, and this skill has an additional 50% chance of healing the targets below 30% of max HP as well, too. So, the problem is, guys, her HP really isn't that high. I mean, it's high enough, but it's not that high. Now, if her passive also gave her that bonus, it'd be making a hell of a difference, but it's really not. So, in the beginning of the game, because her HP pool is so low, you're only getting healed for like 2,000 to 6,000 HP. Mid-game, you're getting a little more, like 10,000 to 50,000. End game, you see a massive difference. You're seeing like in the 100,000s, and that's really where she shines, okay? Mid to end game, she starts to get a lot better. End game, she really becomes a pivotal role in your team. Okay, C2, we talked about it already. It's called Hurricane Dance. Performs a dance that grants all teammates 20% damage reduction for 8 seconds. Fills a super combo bar by 50 and then by 100, okay? So, if you can tell the difference, one is meant to really be for survivability. The other one is to make you do a lot more damage, right? So there's the big difference right away. Survivability versus damage. In this game, damage is king. Okay, damage is absolutely king. And I'll explain to you where both of these units are going to be used. But before we do that, let's talk about their fighting spirits, because I think that's a very important one as well. So fighting spirits, Wandering Element Spirit. Securing Dance replaces Healing Dance. All teammates are healed 15% of Elena's max HP. The healing effect is increased by 50% on allies who are under 30% of max HP. Additionally, all teammates now recover 2% of their max HP for every 6 seconds. It's a HOT. Healing over time. That's what HOT stands for. Okay, the assist skills. Takes effect when the fighter is in assist position when performing a super combo or combo. Assisted fighter is healed for 8% of max HP. Actually very, very useful. And I'll explain to you why this is a good assist to use if you use Street Poison as your main tag unit, as your buffer. Elena is actually a really good DPS alternative for healing. If you want your DPS to survive, Elena is a great assist to add on there to get extra heals in case you're having a hard time surviving. So her as an assist sometimes actually works better than her as a tag unit. And I'll explain that shortly. Increases the healing duration of Cure Dance to 9 seconds instead of, 6 seconds, and then 12 seconds instead of 9 seconds. And then lastly, Curing Dance has a 60% chance to trigger Brave Dance. Brave Dance is the one that increases the attack by 20%, and it's skill 3, so also increases your speed as well too. So here you go. If you look at it again, Increases speed also as well too for 15 seconds. So you get speed up and you get attack up, okay? So very, very good skill. The problem with this skill, guys, at skill 30 is she actually jumps out into the fight when she does it at 60% of 60% of the time, because her heals normally she just heals, goes back. With this, she heals and then she jumps into the fight and then does this move 60% of the time, and most of the time she gets one shot for it. So that's what I'm saying. It's a benefit and a crux. So you got to be very, very careful. But she does give you speed, healing, and she gives you attack up with this. Okay, so 3 very, very important things. So again, making her very viable mid to end game. Not beginning though, okay? Because at the beginning, let's be real, everyone's using Bizang, Bison, a DPS of your choice, and then either Street Poison or Elena, and Street Poison will actually help you advance way further and way faster over Elena, okay? So let's go to Street Poison real quick and talk about her FS. Okay, so right here, Aeola Spring, piercing shot replaces alarming arrow, performs a piercing attack that deals damage of 120% all targets, granting all teammates 1 toxic love, which is the buff of crit, pressure, and attack. Crit damage, pressure, and attack, I should say, sorry. Increasing the crit damage, pressure, and attack stacks up to 5 times. Okay, the assist. This assist is actually very important. If you use Elena instead of her as your main tag unit being the 4th unit as your support, she's actually an amazing assist. Takes into effect when the fighter's in assist position. When there's only one enemy, the assist fighter's crit damage is increased by 60% when they attack. Okay, so you get the crit damage bonus at half, or at the same, almost the same amount, so 15 versus 16, or sorry, half the amount, 30 to 16%, but 16% crit damage is quite a bit. So if you have a Chun-Li assist plus her as an assist, poison against bosses, this is actually worth it. That 16% crit damage is pretty hefty, and you'll notice a significant damage boost. Now, 10, 20, 30 are huge though. Piercing shot also refills the combo gauge, 25% chance to add an additional toxic love, so now you're stacking it twice at 25% chance, so giving you 60%, 30%, 30%. And then the last one's even crazier. 20 seconds after the battle begins, piercing shot replaces her regular attacks, which means she just does the buffs nonstop, which means you'll always have the 5 stacks constant as long as she's alive. Absolutely broken FS30, okay? So here you can see she is meant to be the boss killer. She's meant to be the one who puts out the most amount of damage for your team as a buff. And even in PvE mode, with interrupts with Bizang, she is the clear winner early, mid, end game. Okay, there's almost no question about it. Street Poison, if you can time your Bizang interrupts correctly, she is going to take the cake by a mile. Okay, but when you hit 36-24 and you need 2 teams, Elena is a must-have. Now, there is a third person in here that I haven't mentioned at all. Actually, technically 4 people, so there's 2 other people. Rose is a fantastic backup healer and buffer as well. Not as good as Street Poison for buffing anymore, but definitely a better off healer. So you can even use Rose over Elena and still get better buffs and better, or not as good healing, but still enough healing to bypass it with her C2. The problem with Rose is, of course, you don't want to put her with Bizang because she takes that coveted C2 spot. So you want to have her on a second team. Elena that way gets pushed down the line even further and can be a 3rd string. And if you have Fashion Sakura, she also heals and does damage reduction, pushing Elena down to 4th string. Now, for free-to-play, you're not going to get Fashion Sakura if you're true free-to-play because she's purchasable. So, in Rose, you can probably use at A to A+ rank, to be quite honest, and still be fairly effective in attack position. So, Elena could technically sit at Team 3 over Team 2 even, which makes Poison the clear winner. All right, so I just wanted to talk about that real quick because there was a lot of controversy between a lot of you guys who don't use it, because the main meta is Bison, Bizang, DPS of your choice, Street Poison. And there's a reason why, because with interrupts, you don't need to heal most of the time. Now, with that being said, Elena is definitely more important in places like Inverse World, where the team keeps the HP, and same with Shadowloo City, where you need to keep healing. Elena definitely does shine more there because you want to keep your HP as high as possible. So there are places where Elena will shine more than Street Poison, but for the most part, for events and PvE mode, where you have Bizang in it, especially for PvE, Street Poison is the clear winner. All right, guys, I hope this helped you guys out. If you have any further questions, let me know in the comment section. I'm more than happy to debate and answer. All right, guys, I'll talk to you in the next one. Take care.